So welcome everyone. My name is Ari Kelly, and I'm currently also a lecturer here. On behalf of the School of Architecture and Design and KMUTT, today we have a special lecture, and the topic is basically surrounded by landscape architecture. So as you may know, we're living through a pretty serious climate volatility changes right now. And as designers, educators, we generally have a responsibility here to bridge the gap and let everyone know how we are going to develop as humans and project the natural world around us, right? So we're going to talk through this, and we have someone really special here today, which I will introduce after this. So please join me in welcoming Kun Yossapon Boonsom, who is the director and founder of Shma นะครับ So just a bit about Kun Yossapon before we start. He studied as a landscape architecture at Chulalongkorn. He did his master's degree in Milan, then spent 5 years in Singapore before coming home to found what we know now as our company as Shma, and now one of the leading landscape architect firms in the region with awards at the World's Architecture Festival and works that represented Thailand at the Venice Biennale as well. So what really sets him apart is his commitment to public good. He co-founded Friends of the River, working to revitalize the Chao Phraya River, and he's behind projects from One Bangkok to Green Hacker at Bangkok Design Week as well. So all showing how landscape architecture can drive real climate action. Okay. So today he's going to walk us through how we can reshape our environments and also talk about a career in the field that can really make change on a global scale. So this is also a great opportunity to showcase landscape architecture as a really top level career path for students who may be looking to get into landscape architecture, as also building skills on. We have architects or students who are currently studying architecture in various years of our school who can learn more from Kun Yossapon นะครับ So without further ado, I would like to hand over to Kun Yossapon ครับ
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me this morning, and I'm very glad to share with you our experience, and probably we can have dialogue on discussion later after my talk. And I hope that this is going to be two-way communications and in exchanging ideas. I know that participants come from many backgrounds, whether it's students in the university or high school students and teacher or practitioner, and I think everyone do aware of the importance of how to make the city and the world to be more sustained in the futures. I hope you guys know Shma a bit. Myself, my talk today, I'm going to introduce about how we approach the work, and also talking about how our company established, and also talking about how my life is taking this path in doing the landscape architect. And because I do aware that I think most of the participants today probably would like to know what is landscape can do in the future, and also how the landscape can become the change maker to make the city and the world to be the better place. Can you see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Just want to have a discussion and dialogue. Yes. Show me some stickers. Good. My company called Shma. Shma means Earth, because this is the mission that we really want to achieve for the longer term. How we're gonna make the Earth better, and go through. Okay. So topic today is that how we're gonna make the landscape become the change maker. I start these questions when I was very young. When I grow up in the city. I'm actually the Bangkokian, and I think every time when you live in your own city, you may face certain circumstance or facing certain incidents or experience in your life, and probably that moment might become the calling to make yourself to do something, right? And so I do believe that that calling is make your life be to have that purpose. And to have that purpose in life, I think is very important because it's going to be the guidance or the way that you're gonna live your life, and probably the way you're gonna studies and going and do many things in your occupation in the futures. And I think when you I think there's two words that is very important to me is empathy. I think this is how we can see things from different perspective, not only from your own perspective, to understand life from different angle, and probably you can understand different thoughts of the people, and then you can probably be part of that change through that lens, through different lens, right? And actually, my calling is start from very young age. When I live in the in Bangkok City, I think Bangkok City today and in 30 years ago, I think certain thing has been changed, but many things still be the same, right? Living in the very congested city, very dense and polluted kind of the city, and I do remember very well that I just need to travel through the heavy traffic and getting onto the bus and couldn't cope with those environment. And I think most of Bangkokian and people living in those towns get used to all of this environment. And I think it's not the good environment or the good quality of life that we've been living through many years. And of course, I have my childhood in the countryside as well. My grandmom and my grandfathers live in the countryside, and I think this is totally different kind of the landscape, right? Suddenly, once you move to the countryside, you can feel the nature. You immerse into the natural landscape. You feel very comfort and relaxed and want to be there. Don't want to go back to the city anymore, right? So it's a most likely is a kind of the comparison. Why can't we having the better life in the city? And I think the city is not only about the physical form, it's also about how people live. And you can see through the lens of the news in the televisions or even today in the social media that there are many of the inequality in the society, corruption, ignorance, and things that happen in the society. So it made me feel and think about whether is there any way to make those conditions better through need to do something, whether through the design or through the interaction or whatever to make life better, not only for myself, but I think for others as well. So I think those are the calling when I thought about it when I was very young while we living in the city. And I do remember that I think everyone in this room like to draw, and I think many of those drawing when you were very young is more like a dreamscape of what you can do. And this is the sketch of my own house. I live in the city center and have like a very typical kind of the house in the city. And then I think there's one picture that remind me of what we want to see in the future. I think everyone has to draw this picture of what will be the future city in your in your imagination or in your dream. So I think there's a similarity of those pictures, whether no matter whether it's a high-rise building or skyscraper or skytrain. I think there's one image that similar in those. The drawing is a picture of people smiling. So I think at the end of the day, it's not much about the physical space, but it's about how people live happily in those cities. So I think that we share the common goal and common interest in making our life be happier and others to be more healthier and happier as well. I'm not sure whether is there anyone used to draw this picture. You can show the sticker or whatsoever. And I like to draw, and my life go through this different stage of drawing and moving to different city. And of course, I do believe that landscape is about the discipline in transforming and transforming the ideas into the reality. And I think when you were very young as a student in the high school, you need to go through this exercise of sketch and draw something to explain your ideas. This is my sketch when I was very young to enter to the school of architecture. So I then do the examinations and become the student in Chulalongkorn University, which is 20 years ago. And my thesis in those days is about transforming the golf course in the city center, which is right now is the Suan Rot Phai, which is one of the biggest park in the city center. I do remember that this is very fascinating projects because I think green space is one of the space that we really want to create for make our city greener and healthier. And I really enjoy to imagine and designing how that area can be transformed as a city park. And these are the thesis. I think those time student needs to do the physical model. I'm not sure whether nowadays do you need to do this, but I think this is very good process that you can draw and you can have the sense of the space through this physical model. And those are my idea to transform those three parks combined as a mega park and to serve Bangkok city. And as a landscape architect, I then pursue my first career, my first job as a landscape architect in Singapore. During those times, there was an economic crisis. I couldn't find any jobs in Thailand at all. And I think that can be the good stepping stone as well when you go abroad, and then you can see things differently. You can learn from changing environment, changing circumstance, and changing the standard of living. And I think it's not only about learning to become the landscape architect, but you learn to live your life in different city. And Singapore, as you know, that is the city that driven by the green space and good environment. So I think we learned. I learned a lot of how city transform from the gray city to become very green and vibrant and make everyone living in Singapore become very healthy and attract many talent to be there as a to live and work there in those cities. So I think Singapore will become like my role model as a practitioner in combine in using the landscape as a tools, as a discipline to transform the space in many areas of park, condominiums, public realm, airport, or shopping mall. Everywhere in Singapore is combined with green space, and those successful is not only about the design, is leading by the good policy, and they have the good public awareness in promoting and creating the dialogue with the public. So I think this is form of what I can see the difference. I think when we stay in those cities, you can start to compare to your hometown. Why can't we have this in your hometown? Why can't Thailand have this kind of the green space. What my government is doing, can we do it things better as Singapore or even better than Singapore? So those are the questions that's rising up for the past. During my time in Singapore, I worked there for 5 years. This is my picture taken in the office. This is I do remember this is a very precious moment when you graduate from the school and then you start to work as a first jobber to enter into different kind of the environment that is no longer the school environment, and you need to be on your own and taste of the knowledge and experience and gain those experience to live your life. I think those are the precious moments, and I hope you guys will be enter into that moment very soon. And this is my first project. My first project is in Singapore. It's a condominium, and I think when you kind of doing the first project, I think is a very it feel very you learned a lot from the first project, and I think most of the time you need to relearn again, because I think half of the things that you learn from the school can be used, but another half or more than half you need to learn from doing with the practitioner and with someone else in real life. And then I start to I think I have a break to the monkhood for one month, and then I start to learn different kind of the landscape. Right, when you live in Singapore, everything is all man-made. It's driven by the capitalism, driven by the economic, driven by the policy, and driven by the design. But when you enter to the temple in those spaces, it's a very calm and mindful kind of space, which is not being by design, right? And I think you start to think about there's different way to achieve calm, achieving happiness, and the design can be one of the elements, but not everything, right? So I think this is the pause that I got from after practice in Singapore for 5 years. And then I start to explore the world to study further in Italy. I think when you start further study, you also learn from different environment. In Italy, everything is combined, right? There's no differentiation whether you learn as a architecture or landscape architecture or urban planner or product design. Everything is combined. That means you start to see the lens of the collaborations and combinations, and there's no boundary between those disciplines. So I think I like that a lot, because from what I learned in Thailand, everything is very kind of the separation between those disciplines, and I think it's blocked your imaginations. But once you see things as a merge, as a collaboration, as a integration, I think you can see much more solutions from those lenses. And I think those studies in Milan has taught me a lot, and then further study in doing further internship in Barcelona. So I think those experience has brought me to come to the different lens of the landscape architecture that we know. I'm no longer define landscape architecture as a people who design space, right? But I think it's about design life through different tools and method and through different scale. And Earth is kind of the paper that you can explore things and you can design in everything, and you can combine tools and combine disciplines. I think those are the lens that I got from working in Singapore and learning in Italy and working in Barcelona. And of course, my home is calling as always, and I come back to set up my own firms and called Shma. Shma is established for more than 19 years already. And our mission is about to make the Earth to be the better place. And when we talk about the Earth, I think there are a lot of challenge we faced today, and of course many more to come in the future. Right? You faced a very hot climate in the past weeks, right? And suddenly after the hot climate, you face the storm and the rain, right? So what I learned is that I think we need to understand the ecology and ecosystem of the place that we are living in, right? For example, Bangkok is situated in the river delta of Chao Phraya River, and this is the nature phenomenon that the water will stay here for the longer term after the rain because it's a floodplain. And we learned that through the study. This is part of the research that we did many years ago to find a way to live with water, because I can't remember which date, in 2007 that we faced a flood catastrophe in Thailand, and we start to thinking about how we're gonna live with water in the future. So this study showed that actually this river delta is actually used to be the water before, and then slowly became the land, and then people start to settle the city. And the more city growth is going to block the waterway and prevent the water from releasing out to the sea, and because of the concrete jungle is also prevent the water to permeate to the soil, right? So this is a kind of the changing of the city for the past, I think, decades and centuries, that we're changing from the fluid kind of the territory to become the solid territory, where concrete become the only tools in preventing us from flooding, is only tools in set up the city. So that means the water cannot go anywhere, right? And I think we can't stop in preventing city from growing. This is an image of Bangkok city that keep growing and still going, growing, and I think this is the very scary moment, because when we were very young, when we thought about the 100 years flood or the severe climate is not going to come because it's going to be every 100 years or 50 years, but nowadays we facing it right now at the moment. That means that the timing of the catastrophe is right now, is no longer the future scenario. For example, we moving from the people or nature centric to become the car centric development, and I think we got this kind of the approach from the Western, right? When you set up the city, you plan in the way that you need to live at another side of the city and moving to another side of the city to work and live. So this is the reason why we need to use a car, right? And then we've been developing this city in this approach for many decades, right? And I think people start to view the nature as a threat. It's no longer as a nature, as a phenomena, as a part of life. For example, this is the image that we took during the survey many years ago along the Chao Phraya River, and we realized that along the Chao Phraya River is no longer the natural embankment anymore, right? It's become the concrete wall to prevent the city from flooding. That means we give up the nature as a protection, as a buffer, as a guardian, and we give it up to the concrete wall and technology as the only tool that we hold in this circumstance, right? And I think 10 years ago there was a project that the government want to develop this promenade along the Chao Phraya River, and then we start to realize that it's going to even worsen the situation. Not only remove all this riparian area and creating the concrete embankment, but it's going to make the river narrower by constructing this gigantic promenade on both sides of the Chao Phraya River. And then, as I mentioned to you earlier, that city is not only the physical space or form, but it's about how people live, right? And when we went to do all those research and interview with the people, and I come across to this grandmom, and she said, why um, her house is right in just behind those concrete wall, and she need to give up her right to access to the river as she used to do in for many of those years in her life, and she can't access to the river anymore. And of course, if you imagine that you are living you live in those conditions, that means you're gonna suffocate from those walls, right? And I think this is not, it's unfair to someone who need to give up her right to access to river to in order to prevent the city from flooding. So it come to my mind, and I think to many of those who facing the same situation, that is there any other alternative, right, to design this better? And I think those are the spirit. Those are the spirit of the designer, of the design discipline, in always finding the solutions and alternative way of doing things. And then we formed the movement called Friend of the River. I'm actually not really imagine myself to become the activist, right? But because it's a calling, I think the word of calling is always be part of your life, or many incidents, that's something that touch to your heart, and then you want to do something about it. And then we formed this movement and alliance to against those projects, and try to stop those projects, and then we succeed. But I think the beauty of it is that for those time, I think for the past 3 years of those time, we form alliance, and we learned a lot from this, and we have a dialogue with the students, with the different professional, different private sector and public sector, to find a way to make our river being developed in a better way. And of course, I think when you look at the landscape, we can't deny it. We can't deny that landscape is a part of the marketing tools, because the reason why the client want to hiring us is because they want to sell something, right? They want to make their house beautiful. They want to sell to gain more profit. That's the reason why they're hiring us. But it's not the reason of the profession, right? The reason of the profession is how we're gonna make the life of the nature and people coexist in a better way. So how we gonna shift from being the marketing tools to become the change maker? This is a question that we need to answer ourselves. And of course, nowadays people give it up of nature in terms of the artificial one, right? Because we don't want to maintain anything. We want to feel green, to live with the green, but we don't want to learn how to live with green. And green is not about the color, it's about life, right? So I think nowadays people give it up to this artificial form of nature. And I think there's another kind of movement. I don't call it a movement, but it's a kind of trend in Thailand, not only in Bangkok, but throughout the whole city, the whole nation, that when we want to build something for the landscape in the public, they're always thinking about in the form of the landmark, right? And the landmark is something that we try to copy from somewhere else, right? We want to be something like so we want to be something like Chongqing, we want to be something like Singapore. We want to copy them because we thought that it's a successful, and we think that once if they are success, why can't we have the same kind of the form and projects? And actually it's become the threat to our nature, and our context that is going to destroy our identity and authenticity. And I think another problem that we face today is about a lot of abandoned land in the city, and we don't know how to use it properly to become the solutions for the city. And we also spend a lot of the government budget to those kind of the unnecessary things, right? Like ramp pole or decorations or landmark projects that actually is our money, is a taxpayer payer money, right? And come to the public space, I think we spend a lot in doing green, but nobody use it. And I think part of it is not go through the participatory process. We don't really design for the people. We just design for the sake of adding green to the city. And sometimes we using green as a kind of the form and understanding that if you want to have green, you need to remove other things. For example, you remove the old community at Pom Mahakan, right? In order to create this empty lawn and open spaces which nobody use it. So I think there's a different kind of the understanding of what the good place, what are the good public space in Thai society. I think this is a crucial and critical problems. If you're going to become the landscape architect, you need to find a way to tune that understanding and find a better solutions to make the resources in the better way, right? And come to this conclusion is that I think design profession we are in the position of whether we are the person who's gonna design or destroy the earth, right? You are in the very thin line between these two words. This is I think Pasir Canal. I went on the boat with with the communities, and then they pointed out to picture on the right hand side that they removed the orchard space to become the housing project, and they said they shouldn't be here because people who living along the canal, they don't build this kind of housing, because people here open the door to the river, to the canal, and people know each other because we can hop from one place to another place. And I think people in the past or who living with the nature, they are very smart of using nature as part of the solution is actually the blue and green infrastructure that we call today in living with those nature. So the nature can produce the food and can protect us from changing climate, and it make the space very comfort to live. So how can we find the better solutions to not to build those things on the right hand side, and even if we want to build things, how it can be performed like the natures. So I think today it come to it's a calling, right? How we're gonna change from, I think Bangkok as an example, it used to be the green city, but now they become the gray city, and how we're gonna move and change from the gray to green it again. And I think there's a lot of statistic has proven that we are in the not in the good conditions of the green ratio, or even the time we spend on the traffic is make us to live in the unhealthy life. And of course the climate is very severe, and I think there's one data that the temperature right now in some of the city is similar to living in Sahara desert. So, and I think you know best because your faculty is in Bangkok, right? And then we're gonna face a lot of seawater rise is going to affect our settlement and our living in the near future. What we're gonna do as a design professions, right? So I think this has become the mission. I think it's a calling, not from me, but I think from the Mother Earth, and how we're gonna change the the gray city to become more green and be more resilient with the changing climate and changing circumstance in the near future. And it comes also to the calling of the profession, that what landscape can do to be part of the solutions. Of course, we are not the only profession that can solve everything, but we need to be part of the solutions. Otherwise, the solution might not be sensible enough for nature and people. So that's why we why we need to be in those conversations to make the solution to be more sensible to the nature and the people way of life. And the first fundamental is that I think it's about we should think about how we're going to use nature as a solutions, because as you see from different pictures and experience and evidence that actually nature is always the best in terms of the solutions, right? But how we're going to combine it to the design, right? For example, this is a project we did for the housing projects, and we use a constructed canal as a way to mitigate the water on site, and using the plants to clean it out before it can be released to the external system. And we should view the landscape or green space no longer as a marketing tool, right? But become the green infrastructures in the city. That means we can make the green to become the social space, become the environmental mitigation of the water, of the climate, become the healthy space to improve people's well-being, and become the to provide the food, to solve the food security, and then become the space to improve the biodiversity in the city. And I think when we think about the green infrastructure, it can combine in many form, many space, and in the city fabric. I think we shouldn't view ourselves as a add-on element, but we should view our role and the green space as part of the fabric of the city. It can be part of the buildings, the facade, the roof, or it can be part of the road or the bridges and things like that. So I think we need to think about how we're going to combine the green infrastructure in the urban fabric. And today, I probably want to, of course, later we'll show you that example. And then another principle that I should mention is that there are different scale of the green, that it can be combined from city scale, buffer zone scale, linear scale, or very little, like a pocket scale in the cities. That means actually we need to plan this from the beginning, and of course how we're gonna integrate it into different scale of the city. And importantly, in order to implementing this, we cannot do it alone, because it involves many stakeholders. That means we need to find a way to find a common goal and common solutions among the stakeholders, whether it's the client, developers, government, private sector, communities who live next to your projects. I think this is part of the process that we need to really careful and think about that. And of course, I think this is very important. I think for all along, we've been developing the hardware, which is the built environment, but we never really think about how we're gonna develop the software, which is the people to empower the people to be part of the process, so that they can be the people who gonna maintain the space. They can be the seed in creating the better project in the future, right? And of course, there's a threat that we face, but we need to turn that into the opportunity. One of the opportunities that you can see the trend nowadays, that every project they need to use and combine with the landscape architecture, with the green space. That means this is the opportunity that society and the developers seeing this as a crucial things that they need to use, right? And of course, if we no longer we can't deny that we are in the capitalism, and we need to be hiring by someone. That means we need to convince the developers and the client to win in their profit, but at the same time they need to win in terms of the people and well-being of the planet as well. How we gonna achieve these three win-win-win? I think it's a challenge for all the designers nowadays. And lastly, the project need to also, when you do the bigger projects like a city scale or any scale, I think we need to think about the policy as well, how we're going to improve in terms of the policy to making sure that they can improve in terms of the policy to enhance a better process and work with the people to come up with a good product. You can't come up with a good product without a good process and a good policy. I think this is what we learned from the past 10 years or many years, right? So the first project I would like to show you is Green Buffer. We did it as a research project many years ago. And during the 2007, there's a flood catastrophe in Thailand, and we got a grant from Architect Association to find a way to see whether is there any way to live with the water. So we're using this concept of the room for water, but create like a network of this water detention pond as a network by turning the agricultural land to become this water detention network throughout the whole region of around Bangkok city. So this is a image showing how we can transform those agricultural land to hold the water and then utilizing it as a water agriculture or producing the green energies and relocating the settlement to be on the border. So I think those are the idea that we think is can happen to utilize the water as a source of the economic and the green future, but at the same time, it also need to prevent the Bangkok city from flooding. And we come up with this catalog of the different typologies of those borders, how we're gonna construct it, and what kind of programs in different borders. Another project is also relating to this water resilience topic is a park. This is a Bangkok map, and we got this project at the western side of the city, which is next to the floodplain, next to the waterway of Bangkok. So this project called Bang Bon Ecological Park. So it's about turning the abandoned orchard area and turn it into the park. But of course, this park has to combine with a water detention area to detain the water during the flood seasons. So we in this master plan we preserve the orchard area, and then we excavate the earth to provide a big capacity for water, and we're using those soil to form those mounds where people can walk up and enjoy the view and become like a ecological walk to learn about the forest or learn about the ecological system of the area. So the park has already been complete, and I think it's been there for more than 5 years, and the plants start to grow. And then we combine it with different facilities like a jogging track, playground, and also importantly, it's not only the space for people, there's space for natural habitat as well. So the landscape architect need to carefully looking at native species, how we're going to grow the forest, and really thinking about the native species to bring those habitat back to the city. There's one building like a learning center and right next to the lake. Right. Another project in this topic of the plain or large piece of the green space is a Makasan Creative Park. Actually, this is not the actual project, but actual site, actual brief. But we come up with this initial ideas to create a dialogue with the city of what it can be done to this rail yard, which is a huge piece of land in the city center. It's not left over and not being developed for, I think, more than 30 or 40 years already. And our idea is to preserve those contexts of the site, which is the rail yard and heritage building. But at the same time, we need to combine it with the commercial functions and how we're gonna balance between the commercial developments and green space and heritage building. And at the middle of the site, we preserve it as a green space and waterscape for people to enjoy. But at the same time, we also constructing this low-rise development under this green roof so that the commercial function, living space, working space will be hidden underneath this green roof. And people can go up to this green roof for recreations, and it can combine with the urban farming as well. And of course, I think we need to think about the climate. So we think that this green roof is very suitable for the tropical climate, where it can protect the people who utilize the space underneath during different climate. Another park is already completed. It's called Jakpupa Sumahanati Park. It is at the Jatujak area. It used to be like a parking lot, right? And then it's situated in the middle of the three park. One side is a Queen Sirikit Park, another side is Jatujak, another side is Swan Rot Phai. So once we turn this into the green space, into the park, it helps to connect those three parks together. And our strategy is to use those debris or concrete form that used to be and form the mound, and they create like a creek and water system to become the blue and green infrastructure to manage the rain during the raining seasons, to manage the water during the raining seasons. And those creek is also become the waterscape for kids to play and become the place for natural habitat to live and to grow throughout the years. And then we also having the viewing tower to view the space as well. So during the raining season, those streams will act as a water detention space, and also the lawn also act as a water detention space for the water to stay there for a certain period of time before it can release it out. So another project is called the Green Link. I think another typology is how we can link those unutilized spaces for to create the better connectivities throughout the whole city. This is also our own initiative to think about how we're gonna utilize the abandoned land and combine it with the green and link it up to become the walking space, bicycle lane. It's connecting the Jatujak Park, Lumpini, Makasan, and Benjakiti as one space. Okay, right. Next. Okay, so actually this the project that we combine the abandoned land along the railway, along the canal and expressway, and to connect it as one system, as a one network, and utilizing whatever we existing space that we have, and adding more green space functions for the public, and then facilities. But of course, we think that it's not only good for the commute by walking and by bike, but also it can be the good space to mitigate the water during the raining season as well. But actually, beside those master plan, we also be able to achieve one part of the link as a linear park. So this is called Langila Part 2. Is at Urupong area. So we turn the underutilized area under the expressway become the sport ground and community park. And of course, this project is gone through the process with the community. We learned this together with we did it together with the Asom Institution of the Art. And as a designer, we learned a lot how to design with the people, because all along we think that designer know best, but actually people know best, right? People in the community know best how to use it, what kind of program they like. So we engaged people from the beginning in designing process, construction process, and also during the maintenance process. They are also part of the committee to making sure that the park can maintain well and utilize well. So if you has a chance, please visit. It's very lively even today. It's a simple design with a minimum budget, but of course it answers to the needs and aspiration of the people. Another type of the linear space is a footpath, right? And of course, Bangkok is one of the city that difficult to walk. I think now the situation is being improved. I think one of the pilot project that we did with the BMA is Silom, and we did it together with a Healthy Space Forum in doing this master planning of by combining the better standard of walkway and crossing to making sure that we can achieve the better standard of footpath, right? So a lot of coordination work with different authorities to making sure that all those infrastructure can be relocated, and then we can add more green and combine it with the universal design of the footpath. And then as you know that right now this standard has been applied to different area throughout the whole city. So hopefully it can improve it even further in the future. And another project under this type is the Charoen Krung. It's a district scale, right? And this is a Charoen Krung area, the district next to the Chao Phraya River. We got the this brief and the mission to plan for the creative district. So as you know that before CA moved to post office building that they are today, it used to be like a very rundown district, right? But of course there are a lot of heritage building, a lot of vacant land, and a lot of vacant shop house. So we gone through this process with the stakeholders almost 9 years to identify the asset and also identify the problems and identify the solutions. And of course, I think it come out with a master plan and the strategies to rerouting, relink all the soil or the pedestrian to making sure that people can move through the district nicely, easily, and then they can also discover hidden gems that hidden inside this district. And another strategy is about revival the abandoned buildings and land and turn it into the pocket park or workshop space or creative space. And also rebrand is to turn the post office building to become the landmark of the districts where people can come and can go there as a hub, as a meeting point before they can go to other places in the district. And I think what I liked about this process is about this mock-up test, right? And people also enjoy this test because it's not about design in the paper, but you need to transform those ideas into the action and invite people to test it out, whether through this new bike lane in the district, whether turning the shop house into the workshop space, creative space, or turning the plaza and concrete space into the park for 7 days. So it's about learning and getting feedback from the communities, and then even space next to the Chao Phraya River, it can turn to be the amphitheater and performance space during the night. So it's about giving people the imagination and create a dialogue of what can be done more to this district in the future, and then we can conclude that feedback and come up with a bigger picture of master plan to plan for the future and how we're gonna move step by step from one part to another part. Another type that I would like to talk about is a green building. I think nowadays when we think about the building, is no longer the architecture or the landscape, but I think it's about combine those disciplines and find a way to adding more green as part of the building typologies or the building form. This project called MOF 38, we did it with Woha, Thailand, and I think the brief given is that once you're gonna build this high-rise building in the neighborhood area, we need to find a way to mitigate the impact of the glaring and visual impact to the people who live around the buildings. And one of the solutions is to create this green wall, climb up to 30-story height. And those green walls is not only help to mitigate the impact to the neighbor, but also helping as a second layer, like a living facade to mitigate the heat that penetrate to the interior space as well. So I think it's a win-win situation that is good for the residents living in those buildings and also good for the neighbor as well. So we did a lot of testing. This is part of the actual process that we need to do a lot of prototyping, testing of what kind of the plants that can grow into those conditions of the very windy and very dried up in the sky. Another project that we is recently completed in one Bangkok is the hotel, right? Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and we would like to see whether how we can create like an urban retreat out of this very vibrant and chaotic city of Bangkok. And one of the strategies that we come out with is creating like a mountain in the sky that combine the two level difference together. So this form of the mountain is also become the place for nature and also become the setting where people want to seek for secluded and calm space living inside this mountain. And at the second floor is a swimming pool facilities, but at a lower level is like a cafe area, restaurant area, and gathering area that they can look out to the Lumpini Park next to it. Yeah, it's a combination of different species and to provide a cooling space and microclimate to encourage people to stay more in the outdoor environment. We also did a lot of project, not only in Thailand. This one is in India. In India, is a different context of the climate, right? They have a very dry during the summer. The climate is very dry out, very hot, and during raining season is very humid. It's called the monsoon season. So these two extreme weather in those area. So we come up with these solutions of creating like a rain garden to install this underground tank, which collecting the rainwater during the monsoon season and then release it out to the garden area during the dry season. So in order to give the moisture to the garden and maintain the garden throughout the whole year. But of course, we need to combine it with the function as a research center, as a space for gathering, space for meetings, space for cafeteria in those garden as well. This project is also using similar kind of the thinking, but it's in Singapore. This one we won the design competition almost 10 years ago already. As you see that the setting is next to the like a mountain at the back, So our concept is to create like a urban forest above this structure of the parking. And of course, those days when we think about the landscape for the office, we always think about a very neat kind of form, very clean kind of the environment. But we thinking that people who live, who work in those environment, they may want to be in the nature. So we create this nature out of this above the structure. That means there's a lot of preparation and coordination with the structure engineer system to collect the water, recycling them to maintain this forest. And we grow the forest from the very young tree, and now it become very mature after 3 and 8 years already. So the forest itself also become the place for meeting space, gathering space, and also combined with the sport facilities where people in the area can use it as well. Another project is in Singapore. It's similar kind of the type whereby, but this one is more like a mixed use where it combines the function of the bus terminal at the ground floor and commercial at the ground floor, and above is a living space of the condominium and the landscape space. So of course, I think this is kind of the typologies of the built environment that all the city now they're looking at in terms of the combined function to create like a compact city. And we apply this concept of blue and green infrastructures to constructing this water like a creek to collect the rainwater and using the plants to clean it out. So it's more like a biofilter instead of using like a concrete channel or mechanic filter. So it's not only good for the environment, but also become the setting and become the atmosphere for people who living in this condominium as well. So that means we can combine the nature into the living space, and it doesn't mean that we need to compromise in terms of the people lifestyle, and that means we can take care of both in terms of the nature and the people. And another project is really this is called, so this type is more like a very small and compact green space. This is our office. I hope you guys can visit our office in the near future. We have a little garden in the middle of 2 houses, and this garden has gone through many renovations and experimental. It's an experimental garden, and right now we turn this lawn into the pollinator garden. So pollinator garden is a garden that attract the butterfly and insects because it's part of the ecosystem and it's a key fundamental to make our ecology more healthy. So we test it out by planting different plant species, and we collecting the data to see whether what kind of the insect and butterfly that we can attract. And of course, we're using this knowledge to apply it in other projects as well. And another project that I'm very proud to present is VPark. VPark is our initiative that got funding from Thai Health Promotion Organization. And of course, we've been working with BMA and other city for the past 5 years now in turning the abandoned land in the city to become the pocket space, like a park, right? So our strategy is to do this co-investment, right? People who has a land or some people got the funding, so we combine those resources and then gone through different kind of the process in turning the space into the park. using this co-creation and participatory design with the communities, so that the community can customize the use of the park. And also we also do this training with local governments to have the basic know-how in doing the pocket park throughout the whole city. So as you may aware that this is also the policy called 15 minutes park, where it's encouraged people to be able to access to the park within the 15-minute walk. And we do believe that it can turn into different infrastructures for the city to mitigate the climate, to become the place for creativity, place for connectivities. This is one of the parks that we finished 2 years ago. It's in Suan San, Klong San area, next to the Chao Phraya River. And of course, once we turn this abandoned land, it become the linking point where people can move through the space and then appreciate the heritage sites around it. So it used to be the abandoned area, and then we've gone through different rounds of the discussion and space activations and do the crowdfunding and turning this into the lovely park nowadays. So it's a combination of the sport facilities, park, and other function as well. Okay, so we hope that we can work together with you guys, or because at the moment this become one of the movement that we turn different part of the city to become the park, whether is it under the expressway or in the temple or even in the small pocket space in the city. And I think this is called strategy is a small intervention, big impact, in which that we do believe that small park can create a better impact if we can make it even more in the city. And I think what we do is about doing green space one at a time, whether with the private sector or with the public sector. And I think every green that we do is need to think as a blue and green infrastructures, and making sure that we can improve the city and turn it to be more greener and more resilient with the climate. And I think lastly, I would like to show you of what landscape can be. As I will skip this part, as we did a lot of design experimental as well in doing this as a space, as a design experimental during the design week, and whether through this pavilion called Safe Zone Shelter. Last year we did this Prom Park with the MVRDV to turn this abandoned land under the expressway to become the water resilience park, and using AI to generate the ideas from the community ideas, right? And recently, I think you guys may visit this. This year we did this we did the longevity park at the BMA Plaza and turn this into the cooling space by combining the planting structure and technologies to make the space cooler to mitigate with the hot climate. And another park is along the Chao Phraya River to encourage people to walk more. So we did this structure to encourage people to walk in the loop, where it also combined with the sensory garden. And I want to show you another one is a green city. So we did a city scale as well. So landscape that can be part of the city scale in doing this. This is in Bhutan, in making city to coexist with the natural environment and habitat. So the plants has a better role in bridging those mitigation, right, and bridging those challenge. and create a value for different use in the city. And we did a lot of future project kind of the competitions, right? This project is in Korea to turn the Gwanghwamun Square into the park and lively plaza. And some of the project we did in Russia and in abroad. So I think you guys can also explore these ideas by enter the design competitions to test whether your idea is it relevant to what the global audience is looking for. So this is also part of the mission that we did. And lastly, as to conclude, sorry, I will skip this part. Yes. Oh, another role as a landscape architect, we did a lot of communications skill by set up this platform called SoAD. So SoAD is one of our business unit to communicate with the public about what kind of the way to improve the city through the design, right? So a lot of content online and a lot of activity on ground and a lot of interview. And sometimes we did a documentary with to interview and to explore different city and learn from other city as well beside Bangkok of what it can be done to improve the city. This is called Co-Create Our City project. We did this series of the film with the partners. Okay. To conclude, I think at the beginning when we think about landscape architect as a change maker, we think that the only way that we can make the change is through the design, right? But from what I share with you today, I think there are different roles of the landscape architect more than just the design, right? You can be the landscape architect, which is important as a design to transform the idea into the reality, to enhance the living space, to enhance the quality of life. You can become the researcher because in this field you need a lot of research, you need a lot of testing, you need a lot of evidence to prove your idea. So you can do a lot of researcher. As a researcher, you can become the placemaker as well. As a project that involve with the communities, with the different stakeholders, you need to do focus group, you need to do the co-creation workshop, you need to do this space activation. So it's part of the process to make the space more livelier and be more sustained in the longer term. You can become the future seeker to this idea, experimental ideas, and you never know that those ideas can turn into the actual reality, but also it can be part of your research to test it out because the world really need a new idea and new solutions, right? And I think everything combined is a change maker. That whether you communicate through your physical design, whether you communicate through the content, through the placemaking space, I think it's a combination of different disciplines, but it within the same goal as a change maker to make the world to be a better place. So thank you very much,ครับ.
Thank you, Khun Yossapon นะครับ. So a lot of interesting information. Thank you so much from your stories to all your big projects and how you can really give us a bigger picture of how Bangkok is changing through your leadership and your company as well. Does อาจารย์พึ่ง have anything to add ไหมครับ? อาจารย์ muted ครับ
Sorry
ครับผม
ค่ะ I think it's a very mind-blowing and inclusive, lecture about landscape architecture today. I would like to thank Khun Yot นะคะ for sharing, very interesting project with us. Maybe I'm not sure, maybe some student because many students join the online lecture today, but maybe they have some question, but I would have a very, I think, important maybe question, because when the students see, varieties of work and, kind of various scope of project that can be done, if you are a landscape architect. My question is how the student, because they are so young, right? So how the student know whether he or she would, kind of would like to pursue, should pursue architecture or landscape architecture part. I think this would be a lot of question for young students because, once they want to study in architecture school, everybody say, okay, maybe I go for architecture first. Maybe, maybe Kun Yot can share some of the idea.
To me, I think landscape architect has a broadened role, right? You not only focus on build form, right, or certain things, but you need to thinking about how to you involve more with the social with the people, and of course nature is one of the partners and stakeholders as part of the design tools that you need to think to combine with as part of the solutions. That means as a landscape architect, you need to think have the widened perspective and thinking more inclusive with the people and nature. That means it's more fun for me. And then you need to, and once you got a broadened picture, broadened perspective, but you need to be very precise what are the solutions that you're gonna use to do this garden for the condominium or shopping mall or school or park, right? But without a broadened perspective, without thinking for the city, without thinking for the society, you just become like a designer who passionate about the form, which is mean nothing as a Changemaker. But of course, so I think what makes us different from the artists and other disciplines is that you're gonna improve something for well-being. And that means you need to think cohesively, holistically, and then come. But at the end, you need to come up with a design solution. Design is a very fascinating word. That means you need to inspire people that it has a better way of living. So I think if you are passionate about the design and also want to improve people well-being, nature well-being, I think landscape architect is a right answer for that.
Yeah, if you are for the earth, for the designing a better life for people, yeah, landscape architect is the way to go, right?
Way to go. Yeah, and I think but of course you need to choose something that you enjoy in doing with, because all the project that you saw just now, it take a while. Sometimes it's 2 years, 3 years, or sometimes 10 years. But along those processes, the beauty of it is a process. It's not that outcome alone. So that means you enjoy every time when you go to the site, you enjoy every time when you talk to the people, you enjoy every time when you need to solve something about the construction and things like that. That means you need to enjoy the process. But if you are the person who want to achieve something very quickly, I think it probably is not the landscape architect or even the architect or even the designers, right?
Thank you. There are many beautiful places that, in your presentation that I haven't visited. After this lecture, I have many places that I have to visit. Maybe any question from the floor? Ali ปิดจบ
Okay, so if there's any questions from our audience, I just want to wrap up. So for like potential high school students, parents may be looking at landscape architecture as like maybe a future career path. So we here at the School of Architecture and Design, we have our bachelor's degree in landscape architecture, and we're very well linked to companies like Shma as well. We're always supported gratefully by companies like Shma, and so I've also been asked to like introduce something that we do to help bridge the gap between students who may be in high school to career paths like landscape architecture. So I might share my screen quickly. Okay. So here at the School of Architecture and Design, we run another like sub brand or something called Weekend University, and this is how we are giving opportunities for high school students or potential students or designers who want to really get a taste of what it's like, work on real projects. Sometimes we collaborate with companies as well, but we want to really support the career discovery for potential students in the future, and also help them with preparing their portfolio as well. Coming in direct contact with the university, using our tools, getting to meet your other students who are studying design, other high school students who are thinking about it as well, and really getting hands-on, doing things like starting from basic sketching to model making as well, and really taking advantage of high-level university equipment and tools we have here at the School of Architecture and Design. Landscape is also a topic that we do for high school students as well. So stay tuned. I will be sending out through various contacts both free workshops and paid workshops for everyone. So that's it from me. Would Ajahn Pung like to do a bit of a closing speech?
Yeah, nothing much. I think I just want to thank Piyot and the team for joining us today. And thank you everyone for being here today.
Yes. And lastly, of course, if you really want to pursue and still have some curiosity about what we do, you can visit our office and you can join us as a job shadow and to stay in our office and looking at what we're doing in each day. I think that can be the learning path as part of your program of the Weekend University as well. So I think that can be the opportunity for everyone.
Okay, have a good lunch, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. ขอบคุณครับ
สวัสดีครับ